Nothing lasts forever, especially in video games. But it's not just trends. Sometimes it is long-running stuff that just has to die a quick and painless death, right? Always quick and painless. It's not always quick and painless. Alright folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 video game things that died in 2022. Starting off with number 10, it's video game NFTs. You know, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, basically hyper DLC, unique DLC that can't be copied or something. I don't really know how you would incorporate NFTs into games. It seems like a bad idea all around. Hey, we got video games. They exist electronically now. You digitally download them and play them, and there's no problem in terms of shortage of physical materials to distribute games. Let's create scarcity, so stuff becomes more expensive. Yeah, everybody hated that. I mean, there's a lot of other concerns regarding NFTs. Some people talk about environmental impact. A lot of people reminding everybody about the overall kind of grifty nature of the NFT and, every other instance of NFTs. I mean, ultimately, the real problem with NFTs is the same problem people have had with over-monetization from the start of over-monetization. It took a while for publishers to put out DLC that wasn't just universally hated, and, well, there's an entire cottage industry of making videos dunking on how bad monetization is in games. The NFT is the logical progression of that, and also just an obvious step too far. 10 steps too far. Whenever a public entity, be it a company, somebody who works for the company, a spokesperson, or even a lot of voice actors, voiced any kind of support for NFTs, they were roundly attacked, and hard. Probably harder than I can remember any kind of monetization since the loot box. And now it's the opposite. Big names and big companies are trying to distance themselves, like when Gabe Newell banned NFTs from Steam. Directors of hit games like Joseph Fares of It Takes Two saying, "I'd rather get shot in the knee than include NFTs in future games." And Mojang, the developers of Minecraft, banned NFTs and blockchains as well. I mean, that's big. When a company with something like Minecraft is like, no, we're not doing that. That pretty much shoots it dead in the water. Thankfully so. And number 9 is G4 TV, which has been dead before and was brought back in 2021 due to a series of absolutely hilarious oversights, like allowing content creators to charge them between $25,000 and $30,000 per day to appear. Now, when it came back to not only television but on Twitch, and as you know, small-scale television and I guess medium-sized Twitch channels aren't exactly the most profitable thing to run. Paying out that kind of money while taking in way less, it was bound to happen. But beyond financial mistakes, they made a few other ones. First, they were not targeting the group of people that originally liked G4. Instead, they were attempting to target people who, well, really don't use cable and never have because they've always had YouTube. That's not a sustainable audience for a cable channel, which would be where most of the money would come in, to be clear. You're not going to bring in $25,000, $30,000 a day to have a literal single personality on once, taking in Twitch donos. I guess they thought esports was going to be big for the channel, which, people who are interested in esports are more than capable of finding ways to watch esports without cable, which again would be the main place where money would come in, and clearly wasn't. And number 8, it's Google Stadia. A thing that was really just never going to be big. It just didn't have anything that made sense for it to exist. Like, it had a few big games like Destiny 2, which you could play anywhere else, and it would play way better because playing it locally just works compared to streaming it on Stadia. Another aspect of the problem with Stadia is it really didn't work well. Like, I don't know if you've ever used Luna, the Amazon competitor for Stadia that's still around, but it works way better. So between the fact that it didn't work great and the library sucked, it's not shocking that Stadia was canceled. If you're not going to have a significant number of original titles coming out for the platform, then you're going to have an incredible lineup of games that, while you can get them elsewhere, for a low cost monthly, you can play all of them on Stadia. You know, like Xbox Game Pass. I mean, they were just outflanked on every single possible front. At number 7, we lost some pretty high-profile games to being delisted. Not necessarily because they were good. In fact, most people did not hold favorable opinions of the games that we're about to talk about. Firstly, Babylon's Fall. Platinum Games attempted a live service. Oof, no one was happy with that. Kind of an ugly game that sucked. Started as an attempt to expand on Nier Automata's combat and integrate multiplayer. Basically, games as a service is a thing that people don't like. And when you make them, people don't like your game. Weird. But a more traditional game was also delisted. Again, not a good one. Postal 3 was taken down, and even the developers themselves, who developed all of the Postal games except for Postal 3, were quite happy that it came down because they didn't have any control over the page, and while the game had a lot of problems, their response was, at least no one will be able to buy that trash. At number 6, Saints Row and Volition. Now, Volition isn't entirely gone, but Saints Row, it's hard to imagine that they're going to bother with another one of those for a while. While Saints Row met financial expectations and apparently helped bring in profits for Volition's parent company, it did literally nothing for the Saints Row brand. In fact, it tanked it. Terrible reviews, fans were not happy with it. There's basically no reason to assume that they're going to do another one of those for quite a while, if at all. Volition, on the other hand, got moved to Gearbox, presumably so that they will be under a more watchful eye on account Gearbox is also in the United States and apparently has an experienced management team that can pay a little closer attention to them. Deep Silver was who they were originally working with. I'm happy they didn't just disband Volition, if I'm honest. Great developer, just really big misstep with Saints Row. The way they rebooted it was just wrong. And number 5 is the Bethesda launcher. What else do I need to say? Thank you, Bethesda. Back in February, they said, attention PC players, we're retiring the Bethesda launcher and moving to Steam. And everybody was like, why didn't you do this a very long time ago? The Bethesda launcher is terrible. I mean, everybody was happy about this development, everybody. There's not much else to say. RIP. And number 4 is cheap games. Wow, everything is $70. We had a lot of games that released prior to fall that were less than $60. But starting in the fall, we basically started getting games that are $70. And as far as I'm concerned, this move is very strange. They're starting to sell the PS4 and Xbox One versions of new games that are going to cost $70 on the next gen platform at $70 as well. So that sucks. Big time. I mean, that's a pretty steep price. I mean, yes, inflation exists and money is worth less than it used to be. And yes, the development cycles of games have been vastly expanded and there's far more money put into them than ever before. But wow, that's a lot of money for a game. And it's gonna be the new normal. That's pretty much what they're gonna be charging people for games. And wow, it just sucks. At number 3, RIP PC graphics card scalpers. The RTX 4080 really rained on their parade, so to speak. The ants came to the picnic. They showed up. Here's the problem. The 4080, while better than the 3080, MSRP'd at $1,200. The 3080, still nothing to spit at, is only $900. Quite a bit lower, actually. Now, the 4090 is significantly more powerful than the 4080, and it retails at $1,599. Scalpers were trying to sell the 4080, the less powerful one that retails at $1,200, at $1,400. And that $200 gap between the 4090's MSRP and the scalped 4080 price really looks bad when you consider how much better the 4090 is. I'm not going to get into technical talk, but the 4080 was just roundly rejected and scalpers are trying to sell the 4080 at MSRP, which is really a sign of failure for the card. But worse, at least for scalpers, it's really a sign of failure for scalpers. And number 2, a Marvel MMO that was in development from the creators of DC Universe Online got canceled, and well, that's that for a massively multiplayer Marvel game. Do we know for sure that there will never be one? No, but this would have been a good one because DC Universe Online is pretty well liked and is going to get a visual overhaul next year. Obviously, Marvel fans have wanted an equivalent, but at least for the foreseeable future, it's pretty doubtful that's going to happen. And finally, at number 1, we had some studio closures. Firstly, Square Enix Montreal, who made the actually pretty darn good Go series with Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go. Pretty fun mobile games, honestly, that took those popular IPs and made something completely new with them. Basically board game type games, and were really actually pretty cool. I enjoyed those games. Anyway, Square Enix Montreal was sold off to CDE Entertainment and Embracer Group. Now, the real reason this deal went down was likely to acquire Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics, and these mobile studios just got shut down and they shuffled the employees to the larger AAA studios. Now, Vicarious Visions is also no more. Back in 2021, Blizzard Activision made them a subsidiary of Blizzard, and in April of this year was fully shut down and merged into Blizzard. So, to all these things that are now gone, consigned to the dustbin of history in 2022, RIP. What do you think? Leave us a comment. Let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time, right here on gameranx.